for getting people what they need to, and
Thank you.
I think, I don't know, I don't see why we should amend your budget, but that's my viewpoint. Thank you.
I'm going to do the same job no matter what you do.
I
to it,
know.
so it doesn't
I'd rather just
matter.
see it there available to the people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Board of Selectmen, page 1. Mike's joining us here at the table.
Yeah, Fred and I are going to be able to cover the rest of these.
Great. Do you want to start?
Basically, the Board of Selectmen, there's no changes between the salary and the supplies.
Do you expect that overreach to continue in the supplies line? It's peanuts, but should there just...
Last year you were 523, this year is 574.
I mean, it's peanuts.
It
So
is.
I apologize for even asking the question. I've been quiet. You're just picking on the selectmen, that's all.
I think
You want to go to
it
the
merits
town
a question.
manager?
You just wanted to pick on the board.
Right, exactly. Didn't happen on my watch.
One of the big changes in this is the part-time wages, which is the minute transcription. Basically, the amount of money that was budgeted for the year at $4,000 was already used up through the month of July, and so this, I think, the $6,000 better matches the usage of the transcriber for the group. So therefore, that's why it went from 4 to 6. And then down in the supplies and expenses, the bookbinding, we put in $1,000 for that, which reflects, and it doesn't show here, but reflects the annual usage that Fred puts to binding probably one of the more current years of different boards, etc. So those are the two changes that have been really proposed in this budget.
I do have a question while we're here. I thought we went to the new form of minutes that are less detailed, and it was going to alleviate some of that cost.
It still takes potentially 2 to 3 times the amount of the time of the meeting to get them transcribed. And we're paying a flat fee, and sometimes the hours put in are horrendously compared to what's being paid. We just had a recent experience where the minute taker couldn't do it, and so it was offered to another person, and as soon as they saw the amount of time that was going to be consumed, they said no thank you and walked right away. So that's just an idea of what another person, an outside person, thought of the pay related to the job.
Well, I thought I mean, I'm not trying to quibble at all, but where we had all that detail before, now we have more general remarks, which I think is fine as far as I can see. I think everybody's happy with it. I thought that would reduce that time considerably.
You still need to listen to the whole meeting,
Yeah.
stop it, transcribe it, even if it's in small or detail, lesser detail. It's still the time consumed.
So we didn't really
Reduce the volume of
the
paper.
time much.
I think you did reduce it to some degree because you're not transcribing in great detail everything that's said,
But not a whole lot.
which is more listening to the disc and just sitting there and typing as you're listening to it.
Okay. I have no problem with that. I guess that's the way it is.
It's something we'll look at as we go through.
Can I comment on that point rather than making
I have one more question, or you want to go
I
ahead?
just
Go
want to
ahead.
follow
Go
on
ahead.
to the area that you're
I'm
at.
going to let him finish, and then you can go.
I'll be done. I just have one more question. Looking at your supplies there, Fred, you're not supposed to outfit the Army here.
We're trying to preserve your records.
Oh, okay. So you think that grand is that mostly the bindings, as I've noticed?
It's all binding.
Oh, okay. That's something I thought we'd been doing that before, though.
No, you weren't doing it until I arrived. We had to resurrect all those minutes and other documents out of the basement. They were
Right, but I thought we'd been binding some every now and then all along.
have been binding every year. Every second to third year, we have enough to bind for all the boards and committees, so
Okay.
it's double that.
So why wouldn't we see this from last year? That I'm a little confused, I
Yeah,
guess.
because the bill hasn't come in yet. You will see it. The
Okay.
actual expenses will be another $2,000.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question, Fred.
Nichols?
Yeah, I was just going to follow on this line item. The decision that we recently made to cut back, I really don't understand, because in fact, we made that same decision a year earlier, and it didn't happen. It was, I could go back and find it, but you probably remember it was a vote. It wasn't just a comment that somebody made. The information that we were given, I believe it was Christina did the analysis on a particular meeting, was that it took 13 hours to construct the minutes, and that was 13 hours on a meeting which I assume was probably no more than 3 hours. Maybe it was 3.5 if it went to 10:30 or whatever. So substantially reducing the minutes, and I may be remembering this wrong, but the number of pages in the minutes, and I think you acknowledged that, Mike, went down dramatically. And yet we got a budget that's the same. It's not making sense. I wouldn't get into a long debate as to whether or not it should go down to 4,800 or all the way down to 4 or whatever, but we made that decision, cut it down dramatically. They're way simpler. We're not losing anything in terms of running the town, yet we're increasing the budget by 50%.
May I make a comment, Mr. Chairman?
Please do.
And hopefully we can move off it, is that not only is it a cost issue, but it's an employee morale issue, and I think people are pulling their hair out doing that, and sometimes you've got to invest in your people, and I think this line is a function of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There's a lot of hot air, I'm sure, that goes through there, trying to figure out what needs to be said and what doesn't.
Mr. Chairman, are you saying you have a lot of hot air in the minutes?
The only other thing that I would add, and I have no other comments on the town manager, and maybe this is an item that Mike and Fred can look at and consider.
Further
So look at
comments
it.
from anyone? Okay, we'll move on, Mike.
Miscellaneous committees, you have, page 3, you have a $500 budget for the recycling supplies. That was finally made it through into a budget last year, and we've carried that forward, so there's no change in that one. There is nothing budgeted for the highway safety.
Any questions? Moving on.
Finance,
The finance.
page 13.
Oh, this is the one we're going to have a real good time with, Mike.
You can have fun with this one.